Hello and welcome to another episode of B Movie Reviews. I am your host Rich, and I have a great B movie for you today. Do you like donuts? Well, who doesn't? They taste good, they're sweet, and they range from all kinds of flavors and different toppings. But have you ever heard of a donut that could take a bite out of you? Well, the movie I'm reviewing today is all about that. That's why I will be reviewing Attack of the Killer Donuts. Warning, there will be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the movie, I suggest you watch it first. If you want to torture yourself, that is. Okay, so Attack of the Killer Donuts was released in 2016. It doesn't have a rating, it's not rated, but if I were to say anything, let's just say it's rated R. And the genre is a horror comedy, and I believe that it is true to this genre. Okay, so a little bit about the movie. A chemical accident turns ordinary donuts into bloodthirsty killers. Now it's up to Johnny, Michelle, and Howard to save their sleepy little town from killer donuts. Okay, so what's the premise of this movie? You have Johnny, who's of course our protagonist of the movie, and Michelle, who is also the supporting protagonist of the movie. Johnny is kind of this just clueless, floating through life type of guy. Michelle's his friend from way back when, since elementary, and they both work at this donut shop. And of course, Michelle is totally into Johnny, but Johnny, of course, is totally clueless to this. And he's apparently interested in this other skanky girl who just uses him for his money. Johnny actually has this mad scientist uncle who develops a reanimation serum that somehow accidentally falls into the vat of hot oil at the donut shop that's used to cook the donuts, of course. And, well, it's no surprise that the donuts come to life and are super homicidal. Now it's up to our heroes to stop the donuts and save their little sleepy town. Okay, what makes this a B movie? Well, we usually always start with low budget, which this does not fail. The movie definitely is a low budget. I couldn't really find a definitive price, how much this movie cost to make. It probably wasn't much. Most of their budget probably went to the CGI of the donuts, which wasn't the greatest by any means. And it probably also went to making the donut puppets, which are actually really hilarious looking and are way better than the CGI version. So this movie definitely hits on this particular category of being low budget when it comes to the visual effects. But in all honesty, the donut puppets actually looked pretty good. They looked ridiculous and they were funny looking. And I think they played in really well and gave the movie what it needed for, to get that comedy element to play really well. Okay, so next is definitely the cheesy plot. The idea of killer donuts is hilarious in itself. But it's not an original idea. It is definitely a total ripoff of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which that actually wasn't an original idea either, because that is a total ripoff of Attack of the Mushroom People. So this movie is just in that genre of kind of this cheesy element. You pick this kind of docile, non-animate object that it's inanimate object as far as a donut, which you would think a donut is apparently very fragile. It's soft, it's squishy, you know, but you take that and turn it into a homicidal killing machine, and you have something kind of interesting there, right? Okay, so the cheesy plot point actually plays really well, and I'll get into why it does here in a little bit. Now comes the dialogue. Now, the dialogue actually wasn't that bad in the movie. It's still pretty cliche, and the delivery of the lines is still kind of subpar. And it just, part of that, I think, though, is it's meant to be that way because the movie does certain things pretty well, and the movie knows itself pretty well. So, and this is going actually to bring me to the next segment, which is the good and the bad. Let's go ahead and start with the good. What I thought was good about this movie. I definitely was touching on this. The movie is definitely self-aware. It is a horror comedy. The movie knows this. It plays at this angle very well. The dialogue is meant to be cheesy. It's meant to be dumb. The acting is done by kind of these you've never heard of these people, but in a way, the acting isn't the greatest. It's not the worst. I've seen worse acting in B movies, but it's meant to be goofy and funny and just dumb in a sense. The other thing that I thought was good about this was the donut costume design. So the donut puppets, right? I've talked about this before. They really did make the movie a lot better. I think if it was all CGI, I wouldn't have liked this movie as much as I did, because the donut puppets actually give this more realistic look to your antagonist or your villain of the movie. And they're hilarious looking. Okay, so it really does amp up the comedy of the scenes in which they focus on using these puppets instead of going with a cheap visual effect or cheap CGI, which they had quite a few of those. Don't get me wrong. And there's a big difference that you could tell. But again, that all plays into the theme of the movie and the movie knowing that it is a horror comedy. Okay, so those are just a couple of things that I thought were good about the movie. Just some things I want to point out. Now, what did I think was bad? Well, the whole fucking movie was pretty bad. No. I'm gonna go with if you need to watch the movie to know what I'm talking about here. But Howard, the character of Howard, this was Johnny's friend. I just thought he was a totally unnecessary character, and the whole angle that he's fucking Howard's mom. Now, don't get me wrong, she's a total fucking MILF. I mean, she's really hot. But, the fact that he's fucking his mom, I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to be offensive, although I know I am. I thought he was like mentally challenged or something when I first saw him. Apparently he's like this real dorky guy that has no friends other than Johnny. And he, when I first saw, I thought he was kind of mentally challenged. I know it sounds bad, but I thought that was the angle that they were going with. And then come find out like, oh, he's not. He just perceived to be, at first. And maybe that just goes because he was like really being awkward and goofy when he was going over to Johnny's house to have bacon and mac and cheese for dinner with Johnny's mom. And I kind of saw this coming. I was like, why is he going there to be with Johnny's mom? And why is she all dressed up slutty for this guy coming over? And anyway, so I think the whole reason they went with this angle, it was obviously to be funny, which I didn't find it that funny, but I get it, but I think it was more so to just play on to the cluelessness that Johnny has, that he's just totally, clueless about these things that are going on around him. The fact that he's with this girl that only uses him for his money, everyone else sees that, but he doesn't. The fact that this guy is banging his mom, that he comes over and hangs out just with his mom. And, Michelle, the character Michelle, she picks up on it. She doesn't say it outright, but she has her suspicions. And of course, she winds up being right about it. But his whole character feels like a third wheel. If he was in it in the beginning and then died early on or died a little later on, I mean, that probably would, he should have just died. All right. Howard was totally useless character. He really was a third wheel for Michelle and Johnny, if you ask me. And they should have just kind of scraped him aside and focus on the two protagonist characters in the movie. So that's what I got for bad. I can't ding a B movie on other things. I've said this before, the plot, the writing or anything like that, because by nature they're supposed to be kind of subpar. But, characters in the movie, yeah, that's fair game. Okay, let's move on to my favorite scenes, because I have quite a few of these. And the ones in particular are definitely the donut killing scenes where the donuts are killing people, because it is just so fucking ridiculous the way these scenes play out. And let me say, the gore factor in this movie is kind of turned up a little bit. It for donuts with small mouths and jagged teeth, they do a lot of damage, right? So the gore factor is kind of turned up. And this movie definitely has a shit ton of what the fuck moments and what the fuck characters. Okay, so the first scene I want to talk about is this shower scene where like this hipster, hippy dippy kind of guy, he just kind of looks like a douche to me, but he gets a donut from this donut shop where the donuts all have come to life and want to kill people, and he takes it home. And it's so fucking weird because it's like he has this donut on a tray with a bottle of lotion and a candle. And it's like, what the fuck is about to go down here? Is this guy going to like jerk off onto the donut, or is he going to do jerk off to the donut? I don't know what the fuck was going on, right? Because that is definitely a what the fuck moment, and he becomes this what the fuck character in the movie. But apparently he takes a bite out of this donut and he's like, oh, it tastes like shit, and immediately he has to go into the shower for some reason, because I guess it made him feel dirty. And so the donut apparently goes in the shower with him, and it attacks him and winds up, killing him, obviously. And they do like this, like, kind of tribute or rip to Psycho, right? The shower scene in Psycho, which was very infamous. And I didn't know this, but that was actually the first movie to ever show a toilet in a scene. They've apparently, I guess all the movies that were made before that never showed a bathroom scene where they actually show the toilet. They do in Psycho. So I'm going to have to definitely rewatch it to see it, because I totally missed it the first time. But anyway, so the whole like ode to Psycho was they have of course the scene where the blood is circling the drain, going down with the water and it's blood. They do this in this movie as well. So, it's kind of like a play on that scene from Psycho. The next what the fuck scene or moment was, there's this older lady and she got a box of donuts from this donut shop too. And she comes out and she's dressed in this lingerie, like this red lingerie, trying to be sexy. And she's, I mean, there's nothing sexy about this lady dancing provocatively around a box of donuts, rubbing her big saggy titties for this box of donuts that she's about to eat. Like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with this, with these people that wrote this shit. Like, I get it that you were trying to be funny, but you know, you took food porn to a whole new level for me. You know, it was not, it did not seem like, oh, like, you know, when I hear about food porn, I think like it, you see a picture of some meal or something that you like and you're like, oh my god, I want that so bad. Like, you crave it. It's not that you want to fuck it, okay? And that's kind of what it seemed like when she was shaking her old saggy titties for this box of donuts, that she wanted this to fuck these donuts or something. I don't know. You know, but the donuts jump out and they wind up killing her anyways. So I didn't have to worry about seeing her dancing provocatively for food anymore. But the weirdest fucking thing of this scene, not just that, all right, one of the other weird things was that they had a puppet cat. So she owned a cat and it was a puppet for some reason. I guess maybe they couldn't get a real cat to stay still, or maybe, I don't know, maybe she was allergic to cats. Who the fuck knows, right? Maybe it was for comedic, you know, to add some type of comedic value to the scene. I don't know, but it seemed kind of like a waste of money to me. Anyway, so I don't know. That was just weird. Okay, and the last one is going to be this scene where Johnny's or he thinks that it's his girlfriend, but this girl, this skanky chick that Johnny is into, who just uses him for his money, she's banging her boyfriend in this car. And the scene right before this, the killer donuts steal a police cruiser. It's hilarious because you have this little donut, like he's propped up on the steering wheel, right? He's gripping the steering wheel with his little teeth, and he's driving it. And you have another donut on the floorboard pushing the gas pedal. So it's actually really funny looking. It's really hilarious. So these donuts pull up in this police car because they're having sex in this parked car off the side of the road, and they pull up in the police car. They hit the lights and siren, and the guy like rolls his window down, and this like really like this long Twizzler donut, you know, this like rectangle shaped donut, it like jumps up and like bores into his fucking brain. And the chick just she flips out, right? And she jumps out of the car. Of course, she's half dressed, and she's like running around the car, and these little CGI donuts are chasing her. And then she gets to the back of the car, and they pile up on top of her and eat her, and she's dead. So it was okay. No loss there. But all these scenes were incredibly hilarious. They had me laughing, saying, what the fuck is going on? What the hell is with these characters? You know, even my fiance was like, what the fuck are we watching? And I think that's part of it. It's part of it. It's to make you stop and reflect and say, what the fuck am I doing watching this shit? You know, why am I watching this shit? Why am I wasting my time? But yet you don't turn it off, right? You keep watching because you want to see what happens. So the other favorite scene I had was definitely this farting thing. I just called it like the farting zombie donut people. So there's two ways the donuts can kill you. They can eat you, like they can attack you with their little teeth and rip you apart. Or if you wind up eating one of them, they will, I guess, eat you from the inside out or poison you or something like that, and you wind up literally shitting your brains out, okay, or your guts out. And they're very graphic when they show this. They show the people shitting themselves, and it's just like streaming out, and it's all kinds of weird fucking colors and shit. And of course you die. But I just thought that was it was hilarious. You know, this whole over the top death scene of like literally shitting yourself to death was hilarious. So that was definitely another favorite scene for me. Okay, let's move on to my final thoughts and overall ratings of this movie. Let's wrap this shit up. All right, my final thoughts. What did I think of this shit heap that I watched? No, okay, in all honesty, it actually wasn't that bad of a movie. Okay, if you like this type of goofy movie, if you liked Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, you'll definitely like this kind of movie. You'll find it enjoyable and you'll laugh at it. And that's exactly what it was supposed to be. Just this spoof type movie. It's supposed to have fun with it. But, they need to definitely put a disclaimer at the bottom of it. It's like, warning, if you're going to watch this movie, turn your brain off. Otherwise, it will literally turn to liquid shit, like mine has after watching a lot of these B movies. So definitely turn your brain off, guys. If you want to watch a stupid goof movie like this, do not look too much into it. Just have fun with it, and enjoy the flick. And for all that being said, I give Attack of the Killer Donuts a 3 out of 5. It's okay. It's decent. It's not the worst heap of shit that I've seen in my life, and that's okay. It's definitely something that I could watch with a friend or watch with my fiance, and we can laugh at it and find it enjoyable. Okay, guys, well, that's going to do it for me. I think there's a pack of killer donuts trying to get in here, so I'm going to get out of here. I just want to thank everyone for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of B Movie Reviews. Take care.